Well, welcome back. This is normally where you would find us, quarantine conversations, but we're doing things a little differently today. We're talking about Soul. It's a new movie by Disney and Pixar. It's animated, but you shouldn't mistake it for uh, just a fun cartoon. So if you view it as a cartoon, you very well may miss its powerful message. So before we get into it, let's revisit what Disney and Pixar has to say about it. This is their description of the film. It says, "What is it that makes you you?" Pixar Animation Studios' all-new feature film, Soul, introduces Joe Gardner, voiced by Jamie Foxx, a middle school band teacher who gets the chance of a lifetime to play at the best jazz club in town, New York, I believe. But one small misstep, literally a misstep, takes him from the streets of New York City to the great before, a fantastical place where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth. Determined to return to his life, Joe teams up with a precious soul, 22, voiced by Tina Fey, who has never understood the appeal of the human experience. As Joe desperately tries to show 22 what's great about living, he may just discover the answer to some of life's most important questions. All right, so that's the movie Soul,
Hmm.
and I enjoyed it when I watched it. I really did. Um, I did. I loved it from the first time. There was a few. I don't think there was anything I didn't like about it. There's some mixed messages in there. Obviously, when you talk about spirituality versus Christianity,
Right.
things like that that kind of rub, where you may have to say, um, or your thought process may have to concede to Christianity if you're a believer, instead of spirituality, mysticism, and things like that. Secularism is also another one. I loved it, and I think I want to just go ahead and jump into it because it's the way I wrote it. Um, there's criticism about it's another black person that didn't get a lot of screen time.
Hmm.
They didn't get a lot of screen time, or they put that black person in a an animal like Princess and the Frog. I mean, people are
Right.
mad about it. There's an op-ed written about it, but you know what? The answer to I guess combat that is I gotta ask the question: does your soul have a color? And do
Hmm.
animals have a soul? So first of all, your soul does not have a color, and animals do not have a soul. So anybody mad about that, I think let's just get real about it, right? From what we understand from Scripture, animals don't have a soul. They do not have a soul. They're just our friends, right? So back to the movie, it establishes that it's going to talk about purpose, and it goes right at it
Right.
from the beginning. So without me kind of talking too much about it and not giving you room to talk to me about what you got from the film. What did you
Um,
get from it?
what I got from the film is one, I enjoyed it as well. I thought it was great. I just what I got from it is that what we feel like is our purpose or our passion,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same thing.
Right.
Our passion, our purposes are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what we feel like our passion is, sometimes we do feel like that's our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And once we fulfill that passion, sometimes it doesn't give us the joy that we feel like we should have once we walk into that passion. But then I guess then you realize, oh, well, what is my purpose?
Right.
If my
Right.
passion is not my purpose, then what is my purpose? Why am I here? So
Mm-hmm.
it does bring you to ask yourself, you know, why was I born? Why am I here? What am
Absolutely.
I supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, but I did enjoy the film, and that I got a lot out of the film, and got your little my mind turning and things like
Yeah.
that. So it was a great film.
Well, that's cool. And I think to use your play on words, that we should become passionate about our purpose, passionate about
Absolutely.
finding out what our purpose actually is. And I'll say it again toward the end that follow your dreams and you'll find your purpose along the way.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So that's what Joe Gardner did. He was following his dreams and he found purpose along the way. He didn't see it as his purpose, but that was his purpose. All right.
Right.
So let's keep going talking about this. The purpose of the movie. What do you think the purpose of the movie is?
I think the purpose of the movie is to live life to its fullest every day,
Mm-hmm.
not just be so set on one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but just live life to, like, living your best life, like Charlie Wilson said, every day. Live your best life
Live your best
every
life. Okay,
day.
okay, I like that. And and in him following his dreams or pursuing his dream because it wasn't purpose for
Right.
him. he seemed like he overlooked a lot of things that were right there in his face.
Right there.
I would say the purpose of this movie was to show us what purpose is, and most importantly, what purpose is not. And then I thought about it, and I was like, for the people who, I guess, have a problem with the film, I would ask them, how do you quantify purpose? How would you quantify your life's purpose? Joe didn't have a dream gig so much as he had a dream event. He wanted to play. That's what it says here in the synopsis. He wanted to play in the best jazz club in town.
Yep.
Now, being in New York,
Right.
to say that he only wanted to play the best jazz club in New York, that's even short-sighted.
Yeah.
You know, you go from New York, everybody comes to New York from around the world. So you already there.
Right.
To only say you want to play in the best club in New York, it's short-sighted when you could say, I want to go from New York to the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, even that's me judging him. You know, it's I shouldn't judge him. But he felt like he wouldn't be fulfilled doing anything but playing, you know, professionally.
Yeah.
You know, and with I forgot her name. There's the saxophonist. She's the
Yes, I
saxophonist.
forgot her name too.
She's voiced by Angela Bassett. So Joe spent his whole life pursuing what he thought would make him the most fulfilled, while just getting by, air quotation marks, as a teacher. Now, this is, you know, those of us who are musicians, those of us who have artistic dreams, this is where I know y'all understood this when he got to talking to his mama, Felicia Rashad. And she didn't care too much about his dream of professional music. And she, later on in the movie, we discover why. You know, because his father was a musician and she saw him struggle, especially at the end. But you know what? To be true, to be honest, it's hard for your family to believe until you're actually on the stage. And then when you're on the stage, they want to call you on your cell phone, on your direct line, and they want tickets. They want front row tickets. You know, they don't want comp tickets where you might sit in the back. No, man, they want good tickets.
I want to be up.
But this is something that I caught that I don't know a lot of people mention, is that, you know, because 22 was him in the body, and they normally she did the talking in his voice, but as he was talking to his mama, it switched to him talking. Did you catch that?
But it did the same thing in the hospital in the beginning. So when they first came, when he started talking, he could hear her voice, but the doctors heard his voice. You missed that?
Oh, I did miss that. Look at that. Wow, if y'all haven't seen it, you really got to check it out. Okay? Okay, I didn't catch that. That's good. See, we getting somewhere. What was the meaning of, what do you think the meaning of that was?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
I'm still kind of trying to process the movie.
Yeah, I think I need to watch it again, but I didn't want to watch it before we did this. I just wanted my knee-jerk reactions. I just wanted it to be just what I thought, whether it's right or wrong.
Right,
you know, Pixar,
right.
Y'all can email me. Disney, you can email me and say, no, man, that ain't it. Okay? But, you know, when you put a movie out, when you write a book, I've written books, you know, and sometimes people, oh, you watching it now. Yes, you're going to love it. I believe you're going to love it. And people will actually, in conversation, you can say something and people will say, they will say something that you didn't say. But what you said, you know, the way they heard it,
what you say,
the way they experienced it. That's the thing. So let's keep moving. The trombonist, Connie, she was jamming. She was killing, right? But she wanted to quit. She wanted to give it up. She wanted to give the whole thing up. And so as teachers, and we'll get into this toward the end too, as teachers, this was a thing I think for teachers too, to really appreciate those teachers. And I can say, Ben Timmons, Morningside Middle School, right? Brian Standridge, he's on my friend list. Brian Standridge, these teachers that, kind of opened up music.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's more than just notes on the page.
Right.
And so those teachers teach more than music. So we should appreciate them. Teachers like Ernestine Rose. He edited my first book, The Journey to Genesis, which, is directly connected to this.
Yes.
Ernestine Rose is another one. And Tamron Hall has shouted her out on her show. I mean, a nationally syndicated show. She shouted out Ernestine Rose right there from Polytechnic High School in Fort Worth. So we also see the importance of teachers, the impact teachers make on students, and sometimes the impact they don't even think they're making.
That's true.
On the students. So do you have a teacher that you would say made an impact on you?
So the teacher that sticks out the most, I have two.
All right.
So Miss Young was my third grade teacher.
Okay.
And she was just very sweet, very kind. She was just that type of person. In Chicago, you don't get a lot of sweet teachers.
Gotcha.
Especially when they're of a different
Hugh.
persuasion of you. So you don't get that.
Yeah.
But she was very nice. She was very kind. And coming from a second grade teacher, Miss Ingersoll, she was very mean to me. She was very, but mom and daddy had to come up there, they you know.
Regulate.
And my other teacher, my other teacher that stands out to me is Miss Fox. She was my first African American teacher in fifth grade.
Okay.
And she was very sweet. She was the nicest fifth grade teacher. The other two were really mean, and didn't nobody want to be in their class. But Miss Fox was she was loving, she was kind, all of that. But I have had teachers who have poured into me. Alvin Pope, he was my high school choir teacher for some of the time I was in high school, and he poured into me, and is still pouring into me.
Amen. As a pastor.
As a pastor. So yes, so those are just some of the teachers who stick out to me.
That's cool. And sometimes teachers understand it as their purpose. There's a saying we used to ascribe to, that those who can't do teach, or those who can't do coach. That's like the coach that make you run laps and all that stuff, make you do it over again, do it again. It's like, you do it again. Let's see you do it. But thankfully I had teachers who could do it. And they could show us, and they play circles around us, and we were like, oh my God, one day we want to play like them. That's the way it should be. But yeah, so Connie had a passion for playing, but she wanted to quit. She came to the house because she wanted to quit. And I don't think Joe Gardner realized that. No. I don't think he realized the impact that he was making on her. I think she was like naturally gifted or whatever.
Yes.
And
I think he was trying to, just because he had the passion and he saw she had the passion, that she would pursue it just like he did, Okay. And I think sometimes we overlook that everybody's not the same. So yes, she sees when he was playing and he just drifted off.
Yeah.
But for her, it was just something different for her. So
interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Lisa Simpson at the beginning of The Simpsons, where she's like playing, the whole orchestra is playing, and she takes a solo.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So the movie also talks about the importance of teachers.
Yes.
In the classroom. So also, while we're talking about teachers and teachers in and out of the classroom, let's talk about his former student, the drummer, who got him on the gig, the dream gig.
Yes.
And so much so that after, the crazy thing, I won't give it away, it just came out.
Yeah.
But after the craziness happened, the craziness, after the right after that happened, he called him back, and he was like, "Are you all right? Something ain't right. Something's going on." And then he was like, "Yo,
be here early.
Yeah, you lost the gig, but there's a chance." Like Jim Carrey, "Are you telling me there's a chance?" So there was a chance he could get it, and he came back to see it, right? So let's talk about impact. We talked about that. The impact of teachers and students. They forged a relationship. He had his cell phone number. And to me, I think that's when I discovered that teaching was Joe's purpose. You agree?
I do agree with that. Because when you're a good teacher, your students always come back. They always come back.
Now, let's dive a little further into the film. The event. I wish it had been out longer. We could talk about it a little more. The event, okay? The misstep. That's what Disney calls it. The misstep. It's a literal misstep.
It is.
It is a literal misstep. That actually ended his life.
Yeah.
It ended his life. And so he was in the great beyond. And so he cheated to go to the great before. There you go. He cheated to go to the great before. However, in the great before, he was a mentor.
Yes.
Still teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can outrun purpose, but you can you can try to outrun it, but you won't escape it. So he didn't get to disguise himself as the doctor, which he initially said. 22, he had to create a spark.
Yeah.
You know, give them their personality and things like that.
I just on the lighter note that his after still had the hat and glasses.
Right.
Everybody else looked
Yeah,
normal.
everybody was normal except Joe Gardner.
I was like, oh, okay.
Like that old TV show, Joe Gardner, This Is Your Life.
Right.
And Afterlife. And so Tina Fey voiced 22. She did really good.
She did.
And I refer to her as a female. Some people were like, she wasn't a person. I'm like, it's Tina Fey. Okay, so we're going to call Tina Fey
Tina Fey. Yeah.
All right, so now we got 22. Now, this is where things get really interesting because to me, I didn't think anything about it being 22, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, there are people who caught that initially. And this kind of leans into why some people don't like it. Actually, another reason why people don't like it is because they don't think it's a cartoon. The material is not for kids. And they think just because it's animated that it's for kids. And I told somebody, there are so many nuggets in this movie, Lauren. You're exactly right. And so some people don't like it. They don't like it. They're like, man, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
listen, y'all know y'all were 18 plus watching Toy Story 2 and 3 and 4.
And 1. All of them.
Was I over 18 when Toy Story 1 came
Yeah.
out? Was I?
You should.
No, I thought we were in school still.
I mean, but it don't. I mean, it's
Yeah,
still,
you're
so,
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
still
that
in high
was-
school. You
yeah.
shouldn't be watching Toy Story. But
Hey, don't judge. All right.
I'm not judging.
But so, yeah, just because it's animated does not mean that it's for kids.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's messages in Toy Story. All of them, right? But this one was like, this was grown-up stuff. You can't show kids Soul and think they're going to get it.
Right.
There's no way a kid is going to understand it. It's just an animated movie talking to you about your life's purpose, understanding your life's purpose, and living in it. Because what if he didn't have the opportunity to come back?
Right.
He had lived his entire life not
And
living in purpose.
Yeah.
And that happens every day. Now, that's real talk. That's real life. That's a true story. That people live their entire lives and don't take a single step down the pathway of purpose.
It's
Now-
animated to grab our attention, though.
Absolutely.
Because we're drawn to animated movies,
Yeah.
even as adults.
Yes.
We always want to feel like a kid again.
I just like watching cartoons.
Me too.
I don't have a kid, asterisk by that. I just
I
like
do.
watching animation and good animation too, and the jazz in there. Oh my god,
Yeah.
this
it's
is
good.
so good that jazz was at the forefront of that because jazz is considered the original. It's classical music in America. Jazz.
Wow.
Hmm
I didn't know that.
That's right. Came from the slaves.
Hmm
All right. It's not Woody Guthrie and Americana. It's jazz. That's American classic music. And so it's jazz is considered, a dying art form.
Yeah, it is.
But it's so good to see that, and they were playing in that
Yeah,
movie.
they were.
Oh my god,
Yes, they were.
man, they were killing it. All right, so back to 22 because we're talking about animation, and
Right.
what is also wrapped up in animation is secret messages. So let's talk about 22.
Okay.
More on the dealing with this pandemic. It's a wake up call. You're exactly right, Lauren.
Absolutely.
We got to come on now. We're not guaranteed time. We are not guaranteed time. We're not
Absolutely.
guaranteed to keep vacillating on that. So let's go to number 22.
Okay.
More so from a secularism side. This is called an angel number, and I got this information from an angel number website. I'm going to read something from scriptural after this. So hang in there. We're going somewhere. The number 22 is considered as one of the most powerful numbers, able to turn all dreams and desires into reality. The number 22 is a number of precision and balance. In its full capacity, this number is the master builder. Keep in mind of those words, the master builder. Think of masonry and its deep connection to Americans and politicians and secret societies and et cetera, et cetera. That's when you would pull out the G. Craig Lewis videos. All right. This also means that it provides the power to achieve almost impossible things. The number 22 has a doubled influence of the number 2. The number 2 symbolizes the divine life purpose and our soul mission. It also symbolizes duality, balance, relationships, partnerships, adaptability, insight, selflessness, sensitivity, and diplomacy. The number 22 is a master number. There they go again with the master. With energy similar to the number 2. It symbolizes intuition, emotions, balance, diplomacy, harmony, adaptability, redemption, personal power, idealism, It's another one of those isms you keep your eyes on, right?
Yeah.
Evolution and expansion, service and duty, idealism. There it is again, philanthropy, etc.
Yes.
The number is also a number which symbolizes manifesting your highest desires and ideals into reality. That's another sentence that's kind of troublesome in this new age spirituality. New age spirituality.
Yeah.
Manifesting your highest desires, not praying so much, not believing and having faith, but manifesting your highest desires. Okay? The number is the number of accomplishment and power. Let me turn the page. The number 22 is also a number of inspiration, focus, persistence, and ideas. If you resonate with this number, you probably have these traits yourself. Let's keep going, because then we also dealing with numerology and things like that.
Right.
The number is considered materialized source energy. That's right, Lauren. These are things that make you go, they sneaking into these movies. Because of that, this number and the people who resonate closely to it are guided by it, have a lot of responsibility. They can either succeed or fail in their actions. I read somewhere else that the number 22 is the number of millionaires and things like that. They vibrate higher. This is the high vibration number. Okay, now let's go ahead and skip to the scripturals, all right? Because I don't want to spend too much time on that. But understand that there is also a different view, view of the number 22.
Yes.
Scripturally, or from the Christian point of view, this is from BibleStudy.org. It says the number 22, which is double 11, which symbolizes disorder and chaos. Remember that if you ever see, those of you who see 11:11 on the clock all the time, that's symbolic of disorder and chaos. The number 11 is one less than 12, which is perfect order. So when you see 11, you are seeing also you're seeing the symbolism of disorder somewhere, especially probably in your personal life verse.
Oh, God.
It can mean a concentration of disorganization. Jeroboam the first, the very first king of Israel after the United Kingdom split in 930 BC, reigned for 22 official years. King Ahab, considered the worst Israelite king, also reigned for the same length of time. King Ammon, who ruled for only 2 years, is considered one of the worst kings over Judah. He began his reign at the age of 22. The Hebrew alphabet is made up of 22 letters, which are used to compose the Word of God. The Word of God is called the lamp. Psalm 119, 105, Proverbs 6 and 22. Thus, it is the light by which we are to live. Talking about number 22, the Word of God, which is a light, a lamp unto our feet and light unto our path. The word light is found 264 times in Scripture. 264 divided by 12, the number of perfect order, is 22, which represents light.
Yes.
God created 22 things on the days of creation, 6 days. There are 22 books in the Aaronic, Levitical, Old Testament, which is the light of God for Israel. There are 22 generations from Adam to Jacob. When Moses raised up the tabernacle of God, there were exactly 22,000 Levites to consecrate. So light is used 22 times in the Gospel of John. The 22nd time John uses the word, he quotes Jesus, "I have come as a light unto the world," John 12 and 46. Christians are to walk in the light, John 3 and 21, and be the light of the world, Matthew 5, 14 and 15. The 22nd book written in the New Testament in chronological order is the book of 3 John, very familiar to me, 3 John 2, amen. John wrote this book to his friend and fellow elder Gaius. Let's move along because I don't want to just read. Oh, I'm almost done. All right, so the significance of 22, Jesus and his death, it says around 3 p.m. on Passover. Just before dying for all the sins of mankind, Christ quoted from the verse of Psalm 22 written by King David. The part of the psalm he quoted, using likely a mix of Hebrew and Syriac languages, was Eloi, Eloi, or Eli, Eli, found in Matthew 27:6, Lama Sabachthani, Mark 15:34. Those near the cross who heard Jesus cry out mistakenly thought he was asking Elijah for help. Okay, let me skip down. This is the last one. Although most modern translations list 39 books for the Old Testament, the number of originally inspired books finalized by Ezra the prophet, right? In Ezra, Nehemiah, the prophet and great assembly, he was a scribe, so, all right, so he put all those books together. Ezra, Nehemiah was one book. Is later split and canonized. Also, the book of Chronicles was written by Ezra. The original number of books that was compiled was 22.
Mm-hmm.
So the number of canonized books or manuscripts corresponds to the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. That's really interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Really interesting. So thank you for listening to my facts of the day about the number 22.
Here are the
But 22 in the film was a difficult person. Nobody could create a spark in 22
yes.
to cause 22 her, Tina Fey, 22 whatever, to take her own earth journey.
Right.
So all those characteristics and qualities of Master Builder, Master whatever it's calling, didn't want to take an earth journey.
Right.
In the movie Soul.
Yes.
Ain't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Interesting. So by cheating to become a mentor, Joe and 22 embark on their own journey and switch up, which makes Joe a cat and 22 Joe.
Yeah.
Which 22 then begins living a life journey as Joe,
Yes.
right? And so Joe shows 22 the human ropes well enough to emulate his life in his real life, in the body, and on the keys, because he played the gig. He finally played the gig. He made it, but it was stored in his memory, right?
Yes.
And muscle memory, because he took over that one song they played.
Yeah.
He
I know.
just
Come back. Come back.
he just went.
He did.
And you know, musicians, there's also something in there too for us musicians when they talk about going to that place. You know that place. When you see it, you'll know what it's talking about.
Do you go there?
Sometimes, you know, but it just depends on where you're playing. You know, because sometimes you're on a time crunch, and you know, especially jazz is one of those places where you can just vamp a section. You know, but other genres of music, you can't really do that. You can't play that solo over again. That guitar solo was dope, but we going back to the chorus. So,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. So Joe realized he played the gig and realized he was still unfulfilled.
Yes.
Have you ever done something that you wanted to do, you strived hard to do, and once you did it, you were still unfulfilled?
Yes.
What was it?
I
Can you
don't
say?
know. No.
Oh man, I thought we. That's all right, Reggie. Come on in. We would. You know what? I'm glad Reginald is on because Reggie is a musician. He's a wonderful musician, a world-class musician, who just took up cello. By the way, he added to his arsenal of instruments that he is amazing on. And so Reggie is a published composer. He has a lot of his vocal works that are published now, but he's an incredible musician. But so I just asked Rhonda, if you see this, Reggie, have you ever worked hard for something? Let's talk about this gig that Joe had, that he made the gig, he played through the gig. It was great, but he was unfulfilled. Have you ever had a moment like that? And if so, Reggie, what was it? Where were you? While we waiting on Reggie, we'll keep asking. So then we have to ask, what is life's purpose?
Right.
You know, what is life's purpose? That's something. Absolutely, Reggie. I mean it too. He said, I'm so kind. Man, you are so gifted. I'm telling you. I'm glad to know him. Reggie is somebody, when I heard Reggie play, I was like, wow, okay. You think of somebody who plays and you hear a record and then you hear somebody play it and you're like, whoa, they can actually do that. Yeah, so he is a wonderful musician, a fantastic educator in the Mansfield ISD. I believe he's been teacher of the year a few times.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, Reggie is that dude.
Come on.
But you have to understand, when I ask you, do you understand your life's purpose? It's a loaded question.
It's very loaded, yes.
Why would you say it's loaded? I have my reason.
I mean,
but why
because
would you
I
say
feel like I said at the beginning, I feel like people confuse passion with purpose.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they feel like what they're passionate or have compassion for is what that. So like when I was younger, I just wanted to work with kids because I love kids.
Mhm.
And I felt like kids was it. I was gonna open a daycare. I was gonna, but then I realized college was hard, and I'm not a school person.
Okay.
And I'm not a good studier unless I'm interested.
Mhm.
And so over time, even though I still love kids, I have 3 kids, but I'm not in that field. And what I thought was my purpose, and I'm not completely writing it out. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
I don't feel like
understood,
that is, my area anymore.
Okay. So Reggie says he had one moment in 2018. He performed at the major TMEA convention. I think that's in San Antonio or Austin, something like that. It was so cool, but afterward he was just like, man,
Yeah.
wow, man, I understand, I really do. But so what we, that's life,
Yeah.
But I think also, as I said earlier, you follow your dreams and discover purpose along the way, because I think life will reroute you. That's kind of my experience, and
Okay.
and I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but I'm just saying understand that it will happen. I wanted to be, and I still have aspirations to release music.
Yes.
But I wanted to be a performing artist. I'm saying I wanted to be on the bandstand, and I wanted to be the arranger, and Quincy Jones, and doing that for other people. As an audio engineer, you don't.
Yes.
It's not really a cutoff time on that.
Yeah.
Which I still do. Amen.
Yeah.
But what I do, and this happened after I finished college, as an audio engineer. I started a podcast.
You did.
Had nothing to do with that, but trying to do something else. But the Lord told me, He said, you have everything you need to get started. But guess what? I had just finished college. So I had all the information. I had all the knowledge of the processes. I took a jingles class, so that was kind of my intro to radio. Man, I'm telling you. So if you just trust God, not everything is a failure. Sometimes you get rerouted. You're headed in the right direction.
Agreed.
You're just not on the right path.
I agree with
So Joe was a teacher, and shout out to teachers. I'm telling you, this is something that Reggie. Yes, this is where I'm going with this. I'm shouting out teachers. Reggie says, this is Reginald Wright. I want y'all to look him up and purchase his music. Those of you who are choir directors and those of you who are fellow choir educators, look up his music. He's got fantastic compositions. Those of you who are, whether you choir teach at church or in school, all right, he's got fantastic work. Got works published for all male choirs, for all female choirs, all right, and obviously SATB, all right, good stuff. He says the biggest part he caught from the movie, the show, was when he stopped thinking about himself.
Yes.
That's when things started happening. Ain't that life as a teacher? Every day you go in there and you have all these people that you're responsible for, whether it's for one class period or for the whole day. And you're exactly right. When he focused on showing 22 the ropes.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he focused on showing 22 the ropes. Wow.
That's when his light bulb went on.
That's right. That's when life started making sense. And I think it was toward the end. It was toward the end. I don't know where I am in my notes, but toward the end, when there was a montage of him going through with all the students. The drummer who ain't had no rhythm, who couldn't read. The other students in band, and he's getting it now, right?
Right.
But his life, he's on the elevator to the great beyond. He's like, wow. Okay, I understood. I think that's when it was. And so, you get where I am?
Yeah.
And so think about it. People live their entire life and they never get to acknowledge it in their real life.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So, let's talk about purpose again. We haven't experienced, we don't know purpose because we haven't experienced the satisfaction of walking in purpose. Joe was a teacher, but his purpose was not only to teach, but to teach using his experiences. So he was a great musician, but he was also to impart that. That's a word that I'm going to pull that into this conversation. Impartation.
Right.
Impartation is teaches you impart your knowledge and your experience into the kids.
But I think too, what was a light bulb moment for him too was when he was at the barbershop. And 22
was just talking, right?
And she was just talking, and he learned so much about the barber.
The barber, yes.
And he said, why didn't you never tell? He said, because you never asked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he was just like, oh, I didn't. Because we are me driven, yes. And we never ask about other people, and we never, and maybe that,
That's good. That's heavy. Woo. Yeah, turn the light off of you and shine it on somebody else. Woo-wee. All right. Well, so it's easy in theory, right?
Yeah.
To do something like that. It's easy in theory to be a teacher. Donald Ray, what's up, man? You just watched it. Listen, I think we gonna have to watch it again. We just sharing kind of like our knee jerk reactions.
Yeah, teeter-totting around it.
But you know, I think the people who enjoy it, the people who get it, kind of are in the same vein. But just even talking to you and hearing what you have to say about it, I'm understanding that there's a broad understanding about it. That people get different things about it. So we talked about the montage at the end as his life was ending. Here we go. Reggie says, do you remember the quote at the end when Jerry says, inspiration is our business, before sending him back to Earth? You remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, Reggie. Yes, inspiration is our business. And they were all named Jerry, right?
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Jerry.
And that's funny because I was like, which Jerry, the little man or
tall Jerry or short Jerry?
Inspiration, you are exactly right.
Yeah.
Donald Ray said he's a dream chaser and a test MC. When you live life purpose-based, when you have a dream, you follow your dream and discover purpose along the way. Lauren said this self-absorbed lifestyle we in. You exactly right.
Yeah, Sonny said hi over here.
Hey, Sonny, what's going on, brother? That's my cousin, y'all. So he was showing them the ropes. You were going to say something.
I was just saying, my mom said she hasn't watched it yet, but she will.
Okay, yeah, watch it.
And watch it, and we'll talk.
Yeah, we talk. We're going to be talking about this for a while. This is the perfect way to end the year, I'm telling you. And so Joe, as a teacher, and my teacher friends, y'all can understand this. He was showing them the ropes, and he was patient enough to teach them not only about jazz, but to share with them the feeling of jazz.
Yes, yeah.
The feeling. Like, I want to make sure you feel this. Jazz ain't something you play. It's something you feel.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Jazz and improvisation, when you're playing, this is your expression. They say they can't teach you how to feel so much, but you can learn it with the right teacher.
That's true.
You can learn it with the right teacher. And Joe, I lost my train of thought. He didn't want to be the teacher he was called to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is the conflict. He didn't want to be the teacher that he was called to be. And this threw 22 into her own world of blahness.
Yes. Yeah.
Lauren says another lesson was the approval of his mom. You're right. We definitely want our approval of our family. And it hurts when we don't get it. Matter of fact, it makes us work even harder. Sometimes at the wrong thing, because we want that approval. We want to prove to them, that we're not crazy. We want to prove that we're not crazy.
Yeah.
But let's go. Listen, he was not the teacher that he was called to be.
Right.
I don't care what they say about this movie. I'm calling it like I see it. Mm-hmm. So when I say who he was called to be, he wasn't in heaven. He wasn't in hell. God is the creator. Amen. And he created us with a human soul. Go Genesis 1. Amen. And so the person he was called to be, he didn't want to be that.
Right. He wanted to be somebody.
Now, he was teaching.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the teacher that he was called to be. Ain't that something?
Yes, but I know, I feel like also because he saw his dad pursue it too, he wanted to, sometimes when we have somebody in our family we feel like they didn't fulfill, we try to go the extra mile to fulfill what they didn't get to fulfill. Like Tiana in Princess and the Frog. Oh. She wanted to get the restaurant because that was her dad's dream.
Oh.
And so she wanted to move forward in that because it was her dad's dream. And Joe's dad wanted to be a musician, so he wanted to get there because his dad didn't get there.
Uh-oh. Watch this. Now, she's invoking The Princess and the Frog. That's another film that people are upset about because Tiana spent more time as a frog than as a princess.
That's true.
We get there. We are almost at the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
But anyway, D-Ray says he understands being called a teacher because teachers don't always get spotlight.
That's true.
When they up on the stage and they thanking God and they mom and them, they don't thank the teacher who showed them, the
road. But some people do.
Some people do, yes.
They do.
Yes.
They do.
But, they save that for filling the family void. That's right.
Yeah.
Lauren, talking about that mama's appreciation. Yes, filling the family void. Wow. And it's especially harsh if your family you doing what your family is known for.
Right.
Because we talked about that with the Clark sisters. You got to have your own identity.
Own identity. Yeah.
The Denise syndrome.
Yeah.
It's not a syndrome. Denise is, who she is. We love Denise here.
Yes.
Yeah. So, And so Joe wasn't the teacher he was called to be. But when he grew into the role, he became that mentor, and 22 got the spark that she needed. She was
to
pronouns.
move
Yeah,
forward.
we pronoun. Rumbling over here, rambling, pronoun rambling. But anyway, it's Tina Fey, so I'm gonna say she. Okay.
Okay.
So 22 was inspired for her own earth journey. Now here's the thing. He said, "I'm gonna go with you." She said, "You can't go, right?" And then he said, "Well, I'm gonna go as far as I can." Ain't that something, boy? That's a teacher.
Yeah.
Don't they do it?
Yeah, they do.
Man, I'll go as far as I can with you, man.
We be having kindergarten teachers checking on 12th graders.
Yep. And
Make
let
sure
me
they in good progress.
let me tell you something. Just last week, my 7th and 8th grade Spanish teacher just retired. I'm 38. He's been teaching for 34
old.
years. 34 years.
That's passion.
That's
That's purpose.
Yeah. And you gotta know. And so, man, we think about the impact that teachers make along the way. So it's
Yeah.
that's something that we don't forget. But so he said, "I'll go with you. I'll go as far as I can." And so shout out to teachers who have discovered their passion in the classroom.
Yeah.
Sometimes they find it with difficult students.
Yeah. That's the ones.
The ones they refuse to give up on, and they say, "Wow, this is it." And shout out, to teachers, because in this, the last couple of years or so, it's like you go to college, you get a degree. If you don't work in that field, you can always fall back on teaching.
Yeah.
You have a bachelor's degree, come teach. And I heard Keisha Mabry say this a couple of weeks ago. She was like, "Listen, everybody ain't a teacher."
No.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and I can't. I'm not sure if it was her, but somebody said, "Listen, stop trying to teach just because you have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Stop coming to the school.
Am I find something else to do?
Yeah, do something else, please." And I was a sub before the pandemic, hit, and we weren't doing that. And so I have, patience. I don't have children patience like she does, but I have a little fun in the classroom. And so I had
the
to.
older kids.
Yeah, that's
can't
right.
deal with
The
the
kids
little
who can kind of manage their own stuff. But it's fun with the elementary kids because you can still scare them a little bit. By middle of high school, they know, I'm going to get suspended,
Yes.
They write the infraction, and then I'll go to ISS, whatever, and then we do whatever in ISS. So it's more of a chess match the older you get.
Yeah, that's
them
true.
little kids, you can say, and I did it. I would say, "I know your granddaddy, you better sit down, Or
You see that?
I did.
Just threatening little
I'm gonna call your
babies.
granddaddy. His number in my phone. I'm like,
Let me go sit down.
now this was the one that really it got the classroom quiet, the whole classroom. I know your coach. All the little pee wee football kids got quiet.
Talking about crashed in my prime.
Now
don't
pay
call my
attention,
coach.
and you tell your coach, Mr. Willis was here today. So it was interesting. It was fun, but I was able to get to them and pull out,
Yeah.
that smartness they have. Don't be a class clown. You know this. So here we go. Woo. Yeah, D-Ray, taking them as far as you can go. Now here we go. Now Reggie, I'm gonna have to watch it again. He says the ocean parable. You remember that? Woo.
Vaguely.
Okay, come on, talk about the
I'm
ocean.
like vaguely.
Jog my memory.
No, it's vaguely.
Jog my memory.
But no, I mean vaguely, like real vaguely. Like
Yes.
I don't get it.
Okay, so Joe.
You got to go back.
Okay, we'll have to watch that again.
Okay.
Matter of fact, Reggie, tell us your interpretation. School us, because we done
Right.
forgot by now.
Jog got memory.
Lauren says Joe had a new appreciation of life after seeing life through 22's eyes.
Yes. Because 22 enjoyed everything.
Yeah. Don't take small things for granted.
Yes.
Woo.
Absolutely.
Man.
Because she was eating pizza like she was in heaven.
Let's go to Jonathan McReynolds. We get too busy living and watching others live that we forget the one who gave us life. So we've been, what is it? So make room, whatever you
But
say.
yeah, we've been turning living rooms to like that's
Yeah,
it.
that's that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
We get too busy living and watching others live
Yeah.
that we forget the one who gave us life.
Uh-huh.
Right? So he's saying make room for God in your life. But we get so busy living and watching others live that we can't even enjoy a slice of pizza.
Exactly.
There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. We can't enjoy. What else was she doing? It was
A
like
summer's breeze,
uh,
like when the wind was blowing.
the leaf.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yes.
Come on, y'all lit in these comments. Come on, help us out. It says at the end of the jazz gig when he was let down, she told him they would have to do the same thing.
Same thing again tomorrow.
Now, Reggie, I'm a musician. You're a musician. All that he put into that gig that first night,
Yes, he did.
he was gonna have to find it again for the next night.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it ain't possible. I'm not saying people don't do it, amen,
Right.
because they do it, and that's why we appreciate jazz
Right.
musicians. That's why we love them. But man,
Mm-hmm.
think about preachers. Just because you're a good preacher don't mean you're a good pastor.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a pastor, you got to preach every
Every
Sunday,
Sunday.
and you got to nail it every Sunday. And so these guys who preach once a quarter, have once every 6
The whole
months,
church.
and they can get to church shouting and all that stuff. Give them a month, and by the third week,
They're like, Pastor,
yeah.
come back.
Can you mind preaching this Sunday, Pastor? I know I said I was gonna do the month, but and that's still not even answering calls
Right.
during the week. That's still not when you got to balance the budget, balance
All of
the
that.
budget, all of that. Woo, yeah, man, this conversation is good to me.
Yeah.
So we talking about Soul, brand new movie by Disney Pixar. It released on Christmas Day and it's streaming. Everybody is watching it. Everybody should watch it. We already tackled the different spiritual aspects of it, the spirituality, the secularism, numerology, things like that, things that may not align with Christian values. We saw it through the lens of Christianity and Scripture. And so we just talking about it because this movie will make you look at your own life
Like, what are you doing?
and ask yourself, what in the world are you doing?
Are you living on purpose?
There you go. It's going to make you ask the question and hopefully be bold enough to answer it. And if you are not, fix it.
Yeah.
Fix it. So let's kind of work our way to the end here. It's a fictional story because Joe gets another chance at life.
He does.
On the escalator to the great beyond. They said we've never seen anybody do what you did.
So we have decided it's Jerry's
Yeah, right.
to give you another chance.
Give you another chance. But this time to live his life.
Yes.
Ain't that interesting?
And then at the end, he had like that gleam in his eye
Yes.
that, that he didn't have in the beginning. He was just like, oh, it's just another day at the office.
Ho-hum, it's just a ho-hum day, right? Yeah.
But at the end, he had the spark. He had like that he had made his mind up that he was gonna live on purpose. So it was great.
Yeah, Lauren says he assumed instant celebrity status when he got the gig.
Yeah,
But after the gig, he lost his spark.
absolutely, he did.
Oh, man. Gosh. So then to say his head got big because he finally got the gig.
Yeah.
Wow. So, go ahead.
I would say the Lord know how to bring you.
Oh,
right
that's
on
right.
down.
He brought him down all right, all the way down to a manhole. But so I get that, and what Lauren is saying that he got the instant celebrity status. But to your point that he had a gleam in his eye, and not to say that he didn't have one before, because the gleam in his eye was
Playing.
yeah, he
Yeah.
got his joy, or he derived his joy from playing. And so with it gone now, he was kind of, man, so this deals with keep the spark. I know, right? And so when you live a life of purpose, the spark, even if you don't feel, even if you feel down about it, I guess it won't leave you alone. Let me say that. Those of you who live a life of purpose and you're led by purpose, dream chasers, humble yourself. That's right. It won't leave you alone. I'm a witness. It won't leave you alone. It will wake you up in the morning. Before you go to bed, it will tap you on your shoulder and say, did you do X, Y, Z today? And so this is obviously living on the soul level, right? The soul and the spirit and our humanity, our physical, the three levels of man. It'll go over so many people's heads, and I'm sorry, black people. This is not the time to bellyache about us having black characters and screen time. Be mad about something else. but don't miss the message of this film.
Yeah.
The message of this film, there are many, but here are two. The first one is don't live your life unaware of your purpose. The second one, oh no, let's keep talking. Don't go through your life having not lived the reason you were created. Don't live a life separate and apart from purpose, and don't live life having not lived the reason you were created. At the beginning of the film, that was Joel's story.
Yes.
At the end of the film, he was going back to correct, not only
Yes.
correct it, but live in it.
Yeah.
Live in it. So secondly, understand that so many people have died not knowing their purpose or experienced life living in it. So here's my final note. Follow your dreams and you'll find purpose along the way. It's okay to follow your dreams, but far too often they'll lead you, if nowhere else or to nothing else, to the pathway of purpose. Purpose is not what you do, it's who you are. Purpose is not what you do, it's who you are. And that's how Disney begins their synopsis of Soul, by asking, what is it that makes you, you? Purpose is not what you do, it's who you are.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, purpose is who you are. Not what you do. The Apostle Paul was in jail and writing letters. These letters have not only been published, but canonized as scripture. In the New Testament, we hear more from Paul than we hear from Jesus himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's human error or not, because John, the beloved apostle, said that if he published everything Jesus did, there would not be enough books to contain it. Mm-hmm. But what's been canonized is the Apostle Paul's letter, many times from jail.
Yes.
So, we got another comment. Let's check it out. Soul is a wake-up call to reevaluate your destiny. I love this conversation.
Yes.
Y'all are talking good to us.
Yes.
D-Ray says this. He said, I'm still thinking about the fish who didn't know he was in the ocean. Y'all, I must have went to sleep or something, because I got to rewatch this part. I missed that.
I missed that too.
Not knowing that swimming under the sea may be comfortable, and at the surface of the ocean, which is the top where all the action is, raging storms, roaring waves, and fierce winds. In order to get to the top, it's going to be, uncomfortable. That's that word we don't like. We don't like to be uncomfortable.
At all.
We don't like to be uncomfortable anywhere.
Yes.
So Reggie says, they going to break it down for us, the ocean scene. We getting somewhere. Reggie says the young fish told the older fish that he wants to find the ocean. The older fish says, you're in the ocean. The young fish says, this is just water. What I want is the ocean.
I think I remember them talking about that, but I missed that.
Y'all, let me read this one more time. The young fish told the older fish that he wants to find the ocean. The older fish says, you're in the ocean. The young kid says, this is just water. What I want is the ocean.
But Donald, because he was at the bottom, he wasn't at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Y'all, these comments right here is going to bless your life.
Yes.
So,
Bless your life.
the fish who didn't know he was in the ocean, I'm going back up to D-Ray's comment. He says, not knowing that swimming under the sea may be comfortable, and at the surface on the ocean, which is at the top where all the action is, raging storms, roaring waves, and fierce winds are at the top. In order to get to the top, it's going to be uncomfortable, though.
Yes.
So let me see, because I don't want to ruin this goodness that y'all dropping on us today.
Mm-hmm.
If you under the sea where it's calm, you missing what's at the top, where the boats and stuff are, right? Y'all have stumped us. Lauren says the ocean is within you. Okay, y'all. Listen, I'm the student now, so y'all come on through with these comments, because we gonna have to rewatch that one. I don't know what in the world we were doing. I don't think I nodded off during the film.
You didn't.
You know what? I think I was going for seconds. That's what happened. You release a movie on Christmas on the eating holiday. I probably got up for seconds and was thinking, man, but this movie is so deep while we're talking about the ocean.
It is.
And something I discovered a couple of weeks ago watching a cartoon with the kids on Netflix is the ocean has levels. And there are
Every fish can
Have
go
you
on
ever
every
thought
level.
about it? Yes, every fish cannot go on every level, and the fish at the top can't go
They
down
won't
to the bottom
last.
because
Yeah.
they'll drown.
Yeah. They
Man.
won't last.
So
Yeah.
okay, y'all study the ocean. We stuck right now on the ocean, but
Yeah.
there's levels to the ocean, and they named like 7 of them,
Okay.
and like the lower you go, it's dark,
Yes.
and stuff like that. So man, listen, I am that y'all with this ocean, y'all kind of
You
y'all.
have to come back.
Yeah,
and
I'm
talk
telling you,
about
man. I'm gonna be watching the film today,
Like,
just
let me
studying
put
and
my glasses on so
studying
I
and
can think.
taking notes. What did they say about the ocean? Waking up in the middle of the night.
So I turn the movie back on.
The ocean. Oh. Well, listen, y'all. We have had a wonderful time
Yes.
talking about Soul with you guys. It's a brand new movie, again, from Disney and Pixar, and it's about Joe Gardner. And he is a musician. He's a wonderful musician. However, that's not what his purpose is. And sometimes we can be great at the wrong thing. Isn't that
Yes.
sad? We can be great at doing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so Reggie says what blew him away was the fact that it's all swimming, regardless of where you are. Lord Jesus.
Just keep swimming.
Look at
That's
you.
what Dory said.
Look at you. Just keep swimming. That's right. It's all swimming, regardless of where you are. Wow. And you know what? Sometimes we miss the big picture. We miss the what is that? You can't be big when little got you.
It's
You
hard
know,
to be big.
It's hard to be big when little got you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you focus on something else. You just laser focus on something else, and by being laser focused on something else, you miss
Yeah.
everything around you. That's good. Everything around you that works. Everything around you that's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Okay, before we leave, I'm gonna leave this up, y'all, so y'all can enjoy this Disney Pixar. Yes, D-Ray, don't leave just yet. Rhonda, so tell the people before I come back one more time about your overall thoughts about the movie.
My overall thoughts about the movie, which I think it was a great movie. I think it's a movie to get you to get you thinking. Am I really walking in my purpose, or am I walking in passion? Am I walking in what I feel like I love, or what I feel like my passion is? But am I walking in purpose? Am I walking on in the things that I know that I'm here for? So am I walking in passion, or am I working in purpose? That's mine. But I'm still digesting the movie. Still got to go back to it, because I've really been thinking that personally myself. Like, am I really walking in my purpose, my full purpose?
Well, that's good. Walking in, and I don't want to separate passion from purpose. I think sometimes the things that we're passionate about
Right.
are good. I see. Some things that we're passionate about,
Yeah.
we're just passionate sometimes about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be passionate about music, Joe Gardner, but
Yes.
use that passion
To teach
to
these
fuel
kids.
your passion, of walking in purpose.
Right.
So I love
Agreed.
music so much. I want to make sure these kids got it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so
Or I want them to enjoy it as much as I do.
there you go, impartation.
Yes.
I want to impart.
Yes.
Agreed. Yeah. So Lauren asked if we remember when 22 had depression, he saved her out of the funk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like woo for me,
Why?
because I felt like, I mean, not to take it super spiritual.
No, go ahead.
But sometimes you're in dark places, and it takes a mentor to come and get you, who is relentless about making sure you come out of that place.
Okay.
Make sure you don't stay there mentally, make sure you don't stay there emotionally, or even friends. It doesn't have to be a mentor. Sometimes it's just friends who are persistent, who say, oh, I don't feel like this today. But like, girl, come on, get up. Come on, let's go, let's get out, let's do something. Or, maybe your spouse, it may be you just never know. And, the Lord uses anybody. But I think it was just very important, because the reason why she had the spark is because she got to experience Earth. So it took him to go get her to bring her back into.
Okay. I like that. I like that. And so Carter says on part 2, I guess after we watch it again,
Yeah.
we can know the leaf scene for ourselves.
The
the
ocean,
ocean
not the leaf
scene.
scene.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna have to look at that again. But I think when he had the leaf, when it fell on him, or
That's was part of his light bulb too, though.
did it
Because
fall
he-
on him, or did
I think he
just
caught
find the
it.
one that she
So it
had?
was a life. It was leaves falling.
Oh.
That's when she was inside of him.
Right,
and
inside
so
of
she
him.
caught it, but he kept it.
He kept it. Where was it?
And
In the house?
I think it was on the nightstand or something like that.
Okay.
Or something like that. I may be wrong though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what that makes me think of? That makes me think of India Irie. It's the little things.
Yes, and the joy they bring.
Yeah. So, and so we got to ask: are you existing or just living?
Mm-hmm.
And so after what 22 taught him, he was no longer just existing. He was
living his best life.
Because you know what? I think he was existing. And we fall into this. Those of us who are dream chasers like myself, D-Ray, Reggie, as creatives, we're just existing because the grind is so strenuous. And so we're existing and we put our stock in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I get the gig, then I'm really going to be living.
Yeah.
Then I'll have time to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think in the pocket, it was in the pocket.
Okay. Thank you.
And so that's what I'm getting from what I remember, Carter, is that he was not living. He was not living. And he was playing the piano. See, look at that. The connections. Oh, that's right. He said stuff on the, what did he say on the piano at that last scene?
I don't remember.
He said some stuff on the piano. He kept his trinkets from 22 in his pocket. There you go, and put them on the piano. So who was the teacher? Who was the real teacher? Was it Joe teaching 22, or was 22 teaching Joe?
I think they were teaching each other.
Teaching each other and unlocking some things in each other. Ain't that interesting? Even that symbiotic relationship that we have in the classroom.
Yeah.
My teacher is teaching me, but with my youthfulness, my outlook, my innocence, because I haven't experienced, the
A lot. Yeah.
no, I haven't experienced the disappointment that by the time you're 30 or 40, you've experienced. Life don't go your way, especially if you're a musician and you teaching instead of gigging. That's a level of disappointment that is hard for a lot of people to grasp. But 22 comes along and once he has a breakthrough, she's carefree. She's like, hey, you know what, this. So it was both. That's right. That symbiotic relationship from teacher to student. So that's soul from us, part one.
Part one.
And obviously we'll have to come back and continue this conversation, especially once more people watch it. Because I have friends who they are livid that he spent more time as a cat than in the body of Joe.
And I think sometimes we can't get wrapped up in that because there's a meaning behind everything in movies. I know people were mad. You can't be mad at that, but it's get the message. Don't get wrapped up in what character they playing. Just get the message of the movie. Every movie has a message, I believe.
Yeah, and I would say if you have a problem with it, you probably have a problem with the whole movie, because in order for Joe to learn the lesson of the movie, he had to not be in his body.
He had to see himself.
He had to see life from a whole different perspective.
Yes.
Even that of a mangy cat.
Yeah.
Ugh. I kept waiting for somebody to tell the cat to stay outside. You can't come in here with that cat. I was like, so what is 22 going to do without the cat?
Right.
But they were together the whole time. So, yeah, we'll watch it again, and then we'll come back, and I may have some different points of views on some things, that 22 thing and the spirituality and numerology and the way they introduce these concepts that are somewhat polar opposites, and they merge them together. And so then we end up like we always do as believers, having to nitpick and chew the meat, spit out the bones. But I think this was great.
Yes,
I love that
too.
they introduced this. And so for those of you who are believers, you should be living a life of purpose. This should be something that you want to discover for yourself. All right. And to help you along with that, I wrote a book last year. This is detailing my journey, the journey to Genesis, the journey to creation. Much like 22, we are, as men, on our way to a journey to discover our beginning. The reason that the Lord created us. It is thick. That's a good read, too.
It is.
So it may take you all year to read it, but
Yeah.
take all the time you need. Because I share in this not only the discovery of my life's purpose, but the life lessons along the way once I actually start walking it out. And I'm still walking it out. This is a manifestation of me walking out my life's purpose. And I have a purpose partner as well. That's also in the book, included in the book, in discovering that and discovering your connections, the people you're connected to.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Rogers said, these are the people in our neighborhood. And so the people that we meet along the way on our pathway of purpose, they're there for a reason. And so we have to learn how to apply them in our lives. Not everybody comes along for everything,
It's true.
but sometimes their lessons go a long way. One more comment, and then we're going to end. His time spent as a cat allowed him to see how others and him received him.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Agreed. I do agree with
That's right, because the barber was like, man, where you been? Where this
Right,
Joe been?
I didn't know this, Joe.
Man, that's really good. And sometimes, I don't think that we realize how obtuse we're being, and so even barber conversations where you always come in and you think people want to hear about who you playing for next and who you want to play for, and they're like, yo, I'm having a bad day. Does anybody want to hear about
it.
my
My
day?
day, yeah.
That might help you get the right lineup. Because the barber having a bad day, they lose focus. And they lose their laser focus.
I'm like, hold on.
And you come out of there looking crazy. That's why he was in the barber shop anyway. Because he couldn't. The
line
Clippers.
himself
See?
up.
See? All right. Man, it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
And it's not a cartoon for kids either. I had somebody, I said yesterday, they were like, their daughter watched it and they didn't like it. I said, it ain't a kids movie.
Yeah.
And they said, I disagree. It's a movie made by Disney Pixar released at Christmas. It's not a kids movie.
It's
All right?
not.
You can take that to the bank. It's animated, but it's not a kids movie.
Yeah.
This ain't child's play. Purpose ain't child's play.
No.
All right, we have kept you guys long enough. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This has been a special edition of Quarantine Conversation. I do not have my graphic. Oh, yes, I do. Boop.
A boom.
Quarantine Conversation. That's an old one there. Oh, here's one of them. When it all started. But anyway, it's been Sunday school. This is Sunday. This has been my normal outlet with the Sunday
Yes.
school. It's not Quarantine Conversation anymore. But we got to get back to it. This is so we've been talking about tonight. This is Joe talking about Joe Gardner, and we talking about, most importantly, me, her, and you. Living like a purpose. Follow your dreams, discover your purpose. All right, if you have any other comments, put them under the video, and we'll keep this conversation going. And we'll come back after we watch it again. For part 2. All right, thank you guys so much for being a part. All right, until next time, thank you.